Hi, I'm Lazaroo-Hood, entrepreneur, philanthropist and family man. This is my podcast, In Conversation With. From the boardroom, back to the beginnings, to the present with my guests, talking about business, family and sport. Today, we're here back in Belfast, beside the Lagan River, and we're here to meet Tahnee McCorry. She's the CEO of White Ribbon Northern Ireland and a friend of mine. So I can't wait to hear her journey and everything about White Ribbon Northern Ireland. Hi Tahnee.
Hiya.
We're going to go jump in and walk and talk.
No problem.
Cool. So Tahnee, tell me a bit about your childhood and background and how that's led into your business and life successes.
It's hard to know how it's led into my business and what I'm doing now. But I grew up in the country. I grew up in Larne with my...
Great town.
Yes, it's a superb town. All the best people come from Larne. It's easy.
Yep.
I grew up in the countryside. My mum and dad. My daddy was a plasterer. My mum's a vet nurse. Went back to school when she was 30 after raising us. I have a brother and a sister. The two kind of things I can remember from my childhood, first of all, which I kind of see which brought me to now. I can remember one time when we were all sitting at our country kind of dining table. My mum and dad were just in from work and it was very busy. And I was 7 years old and I brought a note home from school. And I had, at 7 years old, I had read every book that was on the curriculum till P7.
Wow.
I was obsessed with reading.
You're a big reader like me.
I am a big reader. But I'd read all the reading books and the teacher, it was like a Matilda moment or something, the teacher had wrote a note home to my parents saying, Tahnee has read every single reading book on the curriculum and she's starting into the library. I can remember as well, I always say, I had a real sense of justice as a child, but some other people might say, like my brother and sister and people around me, that I was a major tout as a child.
I love that. Yep.
Yeah. But to me, they mean the same thing. And I was a real answer backer.
You're challenging.
I was definitely.
As I said, but my kids, they're definitely challenging.
I was definitely challenging as a child. Precocious, some might say as well. But I suppose I'm not that different now.
No, I think again, it's the justice, the challenging, especially in White Ribbon Northern Ireland. You're there. And being that champion for the charity and every part of the community, which is, I think it's great. And in regard to, what would you say drives you as a person?
As a person, I think what probably drives me is a belief that this society could be better than it is. And a belief that we don't actually know how good it could get for us all. For us all, every single person, we don't know how good it could get because we've never had it before.
That's it, and a few people actually did help other people.
Yeah.
And it's not the fact of having to try, even the smallest part, as I always say, is giving your time to someone.
Yeah.
That can assist and people feel wanted.
Yeah, and it should be the most natural thing on the earth.
Yeah.
For people to help each other and people to want the best for others. And it's looking at yourself first of all. You know, I suppose that's what drives me, looking at myself and making sure I'm doing the best possible job I can with that, with parenting, with life, with work. But then, well, how can we lead towards a better world for us all?
Yeah. Well, I think that that definitely encapsulates, and I think it's admirable that you're one of the most inspiring, I don't say women, but also leaders in Belfast and Northern Ireland, and I know you're going to talk about it later in regard to that role, but would you say there's been a key moment, a driving moment that pivoted you to where you are and the successes now?
Yes, so my career before I was the CEO of White Ribbon NI, I worked within Women's Aid, and I supported I suppose I worked in a community engagement role, but I worked in groups with women as well. So I volunteered for a long time and I did many roles volunteering, first of all. But within Women's Aid, I saw the effect of domestic abuse on women, and I heard about the massive statistics around violence against women and girls. And the effect that it had on everyone around them, even the children the children who were present.
That's right.
And it was horrible, it was horrifying, but it felt good to be able to help. But I knew there was more that we could do, and I knew there were good men in my life and good men around us who wanted to do more about this, and groups around us that wanted to do more about this. So that's why, first of all, we started the White Ribbon campaign within Women's Aid.
Right.
So the White Ribbon campaign was a campaign to give everyone a role in ending violence against women and girls. And it started with a personal pledge, and it was a pledge never to commit, condone or remain silent about violence against women and girls.
Absolutely.
What I started to do within that setting was go out to football teams, go out to sports teams, go out to places where I knew there would be a lot of men and say, come on board with us, can you help? Can you do something about this? And the feeling was overwhelmingly that they wanted a role in it. So I suppose the biggest turnaround moment of my career was when we brought that camp, or when you got imposter syndrome sometimes.
Yeah, well, I suffer from that.
Yeah, you had a lot of support from around you, but and especially from Rosemary McGill, who I will mention later on in our conversation. But when we took that outside and set up White Ribbon NI as a separate organisation, and I remember when we set up the separate organisation, and you'll probably know this yourself, Ross, from like a really, really long time ago.
Yeah.
You have that moment.
Not that old.
No. Listen, no, because you've had a very long career, probably longer than mine. And you've been successful for a long time.
I am old, am I? Yeah,
no, you're not. You're not. You're old past 25. I think I'm 36. So.
I'm nearly 50. But yeah, my kid's old and my beard's too white.
Not in spirit.
Yeah. Well,
not in spirit.
I'll give you this.
So I remember you have that moment where suddenly the workload is massive and you're on the verge of something you know could be really great,
yeah.
but you're panicking because you realise there's just this one moment of stillness where you're like, no one's coming. It is literally...
It's on your shoulders.
Yeah, it's on your shoulders.
That's right.
There's a moment of stillness, and I remember that exact moment where I thought, no one's coming. And after that, after you kind of crash through the fences with that one, it almost feels as if you're in a flow state.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're getting better at things and you're growing as a person, and you feel as though you're growing into yourself with it. But you have that moment, first of all, before that happens.
Well, this is the big thing about being a CEO and a leader. You have to basically take it, as you said, on the shoulders. And the fact that you are being an inspiration to your team and the community, because it's a charity, and the fact is you are supporting, you're actually giving that message about violence against women and girls, and as you said earlier, the change of society. And it's just highlighting stuff that people know.
Yeah.
But people need to look to you, and that's sometimes, you said, that's the imposter syndrome sits in going, am I the right person? And then when you hear that people going to you and looking towards you, you go, actually, yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
I think that's it too, isn't it?
Yeah, you do. You take a while to kind of think, am I capable of this? And it's a lovely feeling once you're doing something. And I know, because I had a public speaking appearance to a large group, and it was mostly a male group. It was about 50 or 60 people. And I felt in the middle of it, wow, I feel really comfortable right now. I feel good. And that was a real changing moment for me. I want this to go on forever.
Yeah.
Because they're listening, and I can see that there might be change from this. I can see that these people might feel inspired, and they could impact groups that I will never meet. And I thought that shows that something you're doing is right here.
Well, this is it. And definitely within Northern Ireland, the change, I would say, in the last 5 years that you've been able to lead forward.
Yeah.
People are now, I suppose, it's not accepting the message, but they are now looking at the message and seeing that change is required.
Yeah.
And the fact is, we can't hide anymore. We need to shout about it. We need to be able to help those young men, those young boys, to change attitude. Yeah. And then for them to help change within their peer groups. Yeah. And I think that's one thing White Ribbon Northern Ireland does. And instead of having to look at women and girls in the old-fashioned and wrong attitude. You're bringing now that message going, it's an equal society, and we need to support each other. And I think that's one thing White Ribbon Northern Ireland does.
No, and that's the goal. That's the goal. I have a young man myself. I sometimes call him a boy, but I know he would not like to be called that. He's 14, and he's
a gorgeous boy.
He is, and he's getting to the point where what his mum and dad say to him isn't the be all and end all anymore. It's now what other society says, older men and coaches and people around him that he sees as role models. So I need them to be giving him the right messages now.
Footballers especially.
Yeah, footballers. He's into jiu-jitsu, so people around, I suppose, that area, and it's role models around that, and that's why we do work so much within the sports world. And what you'd said before actually really rang true, because I was thinking there's been a massive shift in attitudes around that, and that we've worked with the Northern Ireland Football League, we've worked with the IFA, we've worked with Ulster GAA, and there seems to be an ownership from the sports world on this issue, and saying, well, we could make difference in this, so let's do it.
Well, that's it. And it's also, I think, you are also encapsulating the mental health aspect.
Yeah.
Again, that gets forgotten about, that there are internal issues having to be dealt with, and also imposter syndrome, but it's the fact of getting to the root cause of where some of these attitudes have been able to fester.
Yeah.
Speak about them.
Yeah.
Don't hide about it, and not neuter, but a medicinal side to actually bring things to it.
Yeah, and something we talk about massively in our work is gender stereotypes and harmful gender stereotypes in that sense. So, the idea that women have to be soft and docile and stay at home, and that men have to be the breadwinner and be, always in control and never cry. That is so detrimental to both.
Well, this is it.
Both
you
of
can't
that
have
is.
it. You're a team.
Yeah.
If you're a partnership, you're a team, and you're there to strengthen one another in different aspects. And I think that's the other thing is, men hide their emotions, as you said. They feel like, I have to be the tough one. I can't show my emotions. I can't tell you why I'm scared or why I'm frightened and everything else. And you go, no, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Get it out.
Yeah.
And if you share, then you can deal with it, and you can basically ask for help.
Yeah. And it frightens me that my son might grow up in a world that told him that.
Yeah.
That told him that men always have to be in control, because everybody has to cry sometimes.
That's right.
Everybody has to speak to others when they're not feeling so good. And to think that he would be on his own with that would terrify me. And that's why our work with young men, I think, is so important. And I suppose young men and not so young men is equally important. And I love it. I love leaving someone a bit better than I found them.
Yep.
I think that's
You're really
the key.
good at it as well.
Thank you.
I think it is. And it's, as we said, you can't bury emotions. You have to bring them out, and you have to manage.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it corrupts you inside. And no one else can hear you screaming inside. So I think what you guys are doing, and the team that is working towards White Ribbon Northern Ireland, and getting that message out public, and having the brand that people now recognise, like the fact that we've got the White Ribbon badge, people now have that throughout, and I think that is tremendous, that your message is now being so centred within companies, sports world, and people are accepting it now, and making it part of their I suppose it's their mantra. Yeah.
And the conversations are starting in rooms where they hadn't been had before.
Yeah.
In rooms where it would have been taboo to talk about violence against women and girls.
That's
and people
right.
would have looked at you as if you had three heads. If you started to bring up issues around consent and respect.
But it is.
But now that's the rooms that conversation is happening in. Boardrooms, sports governing bodies rooms, teams, locker rooms, places that should have those conversations, and it will make a massive impact if they do.
That's right. And it's impact, and then it's action, responsibility and acceptance, and then they take that away, and it's become a equal, normal society. You're normalising the talk about equality, and something that you guys do. And I suppose that kind of gives me the next question, is that where were you in regard to the decision within White Ribbon Northern Ireland to therefore move into prisons and move away, not just as we talked about corporate and locker rooms and stuff, but you've also then now pivoted into, as we said, prisons to deal with those people who have, unfortunately, society has failed them.
Yeah.
As much as they failed themselves, unfortunately. But it's hard in our society to deal with prisons.
Yeah, so it was really interesting because we had so much success working within the sports world and the corporate world and really partnering with organisations to double our impact. It was someone from the prison service that's reached out to us to start off with and said, could you come in and speak to these young men?
Yep.
And it was myself. And, do you know, it wasn't a call that I expected to get. But I remember the first day I was within, it was Hydebank Secure College in Belfast, and it is for young men between 18 and 21, although they can stay until they're 24 if their sentence is within that time, who are in custody for a variety of things. So it could be anything, you know, from murder to burglary to drugs offences. So there was a lot of young men who had done really harmful things to society and to themselves, as you had said.
And their community.
And their community. But the first day that I was within Hydebank, first of all, I felt like the place around me was trying to make change. The staff were brilliant. The opportunities that they had for change were brilliant. And I thought I could add to that.
Yeah.
I thought, well, the best thing that I could give these young men was information and empowerment to have healthy relationships in their life.
Yep.
Because you'll agree that that is one of the things which helps you become successful in life.
Absolutely.
Having good relationships around you.
Oh,
you know,
relationships and networking and having support.
Yeah, and having a stable base.
Yeah.
Because that's always something that's helped me. I always think, no matter how stressful things have got or how much is on my plate, I have this scaffold that is at home. And I know that I'm safe there.
That's right, it's your sanctuary.
And some people don't have that. So I wanted to work with them. We ended up getting the entire population of the Secure College through our Lesson Learn Lead course.
Wow.
Which was
That's an
unheard of.
impact. That is an impact.
Yeah. And so each of these young men left equipped with the skills to develop healthy relationships of their own, but also to challenge the attitudes and beliefs which lead to violence against women and girls in their circles. So they will be in circles that I will never be in.
That's right.
And they will lead things that I will never have any part in. You know, they will be in groups, they will hopefully get jobs when they leave.
Oh, touch wood.
And they'll be able to talk to people. And it just gives them that stability to move forward on.
Also build within their community and be rewarding to their community and feel self-worth.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the other thing is that they're coming out, unfortunately, and fortunately, rehabilitated and wanting to be part of their community and an active part of their community to basically invest.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're not speaking to those men, you're leaving out a big part of the population. That's what I always think. So we've moved our work into Magabry now, which is a more high security prison. I do the work myself rather than any of our other staff. I enjoy it. I like it.
Oh, I know you're active.
I love
As a
it.
CEO, there's not many CEOs who leave their office space, but you're big time in the middle of the day-to-day graft.
My desk is unused.
There you go.
It's unused, and good, because it's from IKEA and it would probably fall apart. But it is unused. I like to be out and about. I like to be in the middle of things. And since we've been so lucky, to have the funding and the opportunities to take on staff, I still want to be involved in that work. Yeah. That work is so important to me because I leave those buildings thinking I've done something.
And you have.
Well, hopefully.
No, I think, as I said to you, I know through my peer group and my leaders of what you've achieved to date and the fact that, you see it within the press, and that's great, but it's the fact that people are talking about it. Obviously, one of the ones you did was Larne FC.
Yes.
And my friend Kenny Bruce, and he brought you in and gave you that platform, and then that led into from NEFL to the Irish Football Association and such forth. So, having those leaders who are helping the cause,
Yeah.
and the fact that they're grabbing the message of White Ribbon Northern Ireland, and that's because of you and the team.
Yeah.
Because it's a young outfit, it's a young charity.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem that way anymore.
No.
And that's something that it's been created by the team that you've put together.
No, that's actually something somebody said to me the other day. They were talking about big charities and they said, like White Ribbon NI, and I was about to put up my hand and say, hold on, we're not a big charity. But I thought, we have a big impact.
Yep.
We have a big impact, a small team, but a massive impact. So maybe I'll just let this slide. We are a big charity. We are a big charity.
I think you are. And, as a friend of mine, I love seeing the successes that, you personally get, but also White Ribbon Northern Ireland, the successes that it's achieving and the message, because, obviously I do a wee bit of work with you with my family charity, the Russo Foundation, and hopefully we'll be able to do more over the years and stuff like that. So I can't wait to see the journey continue and the impact that you will have in Northern Ireland, and I think that's what's going to be brilliant.
Well, thank you.
Say when you're ready.
Ready?
Sure. Okay, cool. So, Tahnee, this is the part I always say is my daft part, and this is the quick fire round. So I said it's not going to be a Spanish Inquisition, I promise that. So, tell me and give everyone 3 inspirational heroes.
Okay. 3 inspirational heroes. First of all, Taylor Swift. For girls that are sensitive like me, she helps us feel our feelings and her lyrics speak to us, and also she donates hundreds of thousands of pounds to every food bank she goes to for her concerts. Dolly Parton, easy choice as well. Dolly Parton donates 2 million books to kids in America every month. For a reader like me, that is extremely important. Third, Rosemary McGill, MBE, legendary CEO of Women's Aid, ABCLN. And I don't say this lightly, but there's a lot of people who are still safe and well because of the work of Rosemary McGill.
That's absolutely completely true. I've met her, and I think she is a hero to so many people, and again, like White Ribbon and you.
Yeah.
An inspiration to me. And I think that's one thing in.
Yeah.
And 3 steps to success that you would give to people.
Our framework within our workshops is listen, learn, lead. So this is a plug. But
I let you do plugs.
Also, you can't go wrong. First of all, listening, understanding the issue, learning, doing a deeper dive and learning why it is, and then leading, going forward and putting your best foot forward and holding yourself accountable first of all.
Absolutely. And this makes it easier now. What's your 3 favourite foods? I know we've been talking about food this afternoon.
Golden Well Chinese, even though it takes an hour, I don't mind, I will wait for it. Nando's, but not hot.
Weird. Someone else said Nando's to me yesterday.
But not hot, not a hot Nando's. And then Curran Court and Larne's turkey and ham.
Oh, I have to do a plug because it's going to be the chicken wings from Curran Court.
They're great.
And I love, because Glenn looks after me all the time, and I'm quite glad you said Curran Court. And 3 holiday destinations, either where you like to go or you have been.
Okay, so I am a completely weird person about holidays.
Go.
Because
I'm
don't.
intrigued now.
No, I always say this to people. I don't love holidays because I really do like my real life.
Yeah.
But city, I love city breaks. If I'm going, I like 4 days city breaks. I like Paris.
All right.
But I also like London. I like the busyness of the city. But my favourite place to go on a trip to is my sister's in Greystones.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you're quite close as well.
Yeah, we're a close family. My brother is my neighbour, so we're very close. Yeah,
I
next door neighbour.
Well, that's what kind of pushes through. And 3 ways you unwind.
Taking my dog for walks. Along the promenade in Larne. This is becoming a Larne brochure.
It's my hometown. You can shout about my hometown. I love it.
Taking my dog walks along the promenade. That's the best way to unwind. Reading. I love to read. And I suppose just kind of spending time with my family and talking and relaxing. And sometimes it does end up that you're talking about things in your day which are about work, but that helps you, I suppose, detangle them and understand them better. My son is my muse, so I'm re-inspired every time I speak to him.
That gives you a good, I think, it's not complex. It's actually just very, you know, humbled at that point, and I think that's what's really nice too. And give me 3 ambitions you still have.
So my first is to write a book, or to write a few books, but I think it might be like, you know, before people have children, where they say they're going to have lots of children,
Yep.
but then it's really hard work, so they only have one child. So it's maybe write one book rather than write multiple books. Continue building this charity, White Ribbon NI, into something that the whole team can be proud of and makes a difference in people's lives, even more so than it does now.
Yeah.
And I suppose the third is just a really simple one, and it's probably one that everybody has. It's just make my son proud.
Well, I know you do, but I think that's a reward that, you know, you strive for, and I think that's the world should hear that you're such a loving person. And in regard to how many hours a week do you think you work then, or how many hours a day? I suppose it's better.
It's a really, really difficult one to answer, because I work when I feel inspired. Throughout the day, I work when I feel inspired, and work enmeshes with so much other things, and not in a bad way. It's because I enjoy it so much. So I couldn't tell you when I start or when I finish.
Okay.
But throughout the day, I take time to do the things that I want to do. But because I'm always learning, always listening, always talking to people about what we do, it's hard to say when there's a start or finish. And I always find my friends ask me that, when do you finish work? And I think, I don't know. I don't know.
Do you like it?
Yeah,
I think that's the thing.
I love it. No, nobody's holding the door closed.
No.
You know, I want to be there, and we're in inspiring places. We're in places where I know I can make change, and I you know, that isn't behind a desk, and that isn't.
No, you have to be front and centre, and
Yeah.
that's something within the White Ribbon Northern Ireland charity, is the fact that you are the face of it, and the fact that you're there and having those discussions.
Yeah, and that's important to me. It's having those discussions that has made it work so far.
I think it was cracker, and thank you for coming onto my podcast. And you've been brilliant today.
No
Thank
problem.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
darling.